Am I the only one who dances to that jingle? I be dancing back in these streets because I'm just like "Du-du-du-du, du-du-du-du-du." Hello guys, how you guys doing? Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Let me know in the comment section down below. Where are you watching from? We're really excited to be bringing you Poets in Convo episode number 4, but also the finale for this series. That might just mean that we might be bringing Poets in Convo back. It may or may not mean that. Take it, take it, leave it, take it how you might. But really excited for our conversation tonight with a very special guest who is already here. I can't wait to introduce her to you guys. She's already here, as in like I can see her, but you can't see her. Isn't that cool? Technology is so cool. um, yeah, guys, I'm just here to let you know that Poets in Convo has been happening over the past few weeks. And if you have been following on the social media pages, we've had some amazing guests so far. And we have been doing all of this in promotion for my upcoming album. I was trying to say upcoming and album in the same sentence. It does not work. For my upcoming album, Long Lost Letters, you should be able to see it on your screen right now. Long Lost Letters is an album that is going to be my very first, my debut project, coming out on the 29th of October. We've got an amazing lineup of artists, and I really believe it's going to be an amazing evening. We had been running some early bird tickets. Those are now out, but you can still get yourself a ticket for 10,000 kwacha only. Only. Can somebody type in the comment section? Only. That's not a lot. Especially because of all the good things that we've got coming your way. So if you haven't gotten your ticket for yet, what are you waiting for, honey? And still on that ticket talk, tonight you're gonna get a chance to win a free ticket. Whoop whoop! Aren't we good like that? Isn't God good like that? Yeah, you can definitely stand a chance to win a free ticket. So stay tuned in to figure out how you can do that. But we are really excited to be giving away some free tickets. And let's see. I see you, Lupa. I see you, Ketat, Amanda J. You all are amazing. Davy, watching from Lilongwe City, Jimombo Village. Wow, thank you so much for tuning in. And to all of you that have tuned in from the unknown places, because you didn't tell me, even though I asked you to tell me in the comment section where you're tuning in from. You didn't tell me, but from wherever you're viewing this from, thank you so much for being a part of our audience. Please go ahead and let a friend know that we are live and they can tune in. Share it on your Facebook page, share it on your WhatsApp status, share it everywhere. Blantyre, okay, I see you, Blantyre. Light is from Blantyre. Thank you. Really excited to have you here tonight. All right, are you guys ready for us to invite our guest? Are you ready? Let me see some ready comments in the chat and then I'm going to invite her. Let's just see that we're on the same page. If we're on the same page, I'm going to invite her. She's ready. She's just waiting for us to be ready. Let's show her some love, y'all. You ready? Awesome. Ready. I'm going to get one more ready and then we're going to get her on. Ready? All right, good people. So if you've been following the pages, as I said, we have got an amazing poet. She really blesses my heart, man. She's a beautiful human being. And her name is MABYE. And I want you guys to help me. As I always say, if we were in a physical room, I'd say stand up on your feet, get those hands clapping, and let us welcome Miss MABYE.
Hello. So excited to be here. Okay. Yes, hello.
Welcome to Malawi virtually.
Thank you ever so much. Truly honored to be part of, this Poets and Convo season finale. Yeah, man.
Yay.
Really.
We are super excited as well, honestly. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Really looking forward to our conversation and our time together tonight.
Yeah.
So we're going to get right into it because, go ahead.
No, I was just saying thank you. I'm excited. Oh, and by the way, I love the jingle. I was also dancing to it. I was like,
right?
Cool
You and me both. You and me both. I always dance to it, even though I've heard it like a million times. let's get into it because I'm trying to, yeah, make sure that we do right by time. And we've got, I'm excited, very excited. That means I can just keep talking. So let's get into it. For those of you who are seeing you for the very first time, they don't know you, and even for those who do know you, please just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, everyone. So, as already introduced, my name is MABYE. I am a performance poet. Well, back in the day, I used to say I'm a performance poet by night and a text consultant by day, making use of the left brain, right brain dynamics and just trying to maintain a balance in life because adulting kind of forced us into things. So, yeah, I'm a performance poet born and bred in a province called Gauteng in South Africa. Yeah, and I'm what, the eldest of three girls.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I just, if I'm not eating numbers, I'm eating words. That's basically my life. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Tax consultant and a poet. Very interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting combination.
Yeah.
I want to know how you got into what you do. How did you get into doing poetry? When did you start doing poetry? What has your journey been like so far? It's a mixed bag question, but yeah, generally, like,
Yeah.
what has your poetry journey been like? How did you start? When did you start? Yeah.
When I started was so in high school, right? We had the subject English language as a subject, and there was creative writing in the mix. Believe it or not, I absolutely hated creative writing. I did not like the poetry that we were doing, unless it had to do with the like black apartheid poets, because for me, I could easily relate to them. Anybody who was telling me about the Northern Hemisphere, a place which I had not been to, I could not understand. I couldn't relate. So I found poetry in high school quite a bore. And but like one time randomly, I'm sitting next to my friend in matric, grade 12, and I'm seeing that this person's got like what looks like really cool creative stuff. And I'm just like, what is this? And she's like, this is my poetry. And in me getting to ask, so how do you get to write like this? Because I was just really blown away. And she's just like, just start writing. And for me, it is like, that's weird because we're consuming so much of other people's work. And for us to now, like for me to do my own thing, it's like, well, it even makes sense. Anyway, so I was a closet writer from then, went to university, and what happened in university, I was still a closet writer until one time there were like these jam sessions. Randomly on a Thursday, people would get together and like share their pieces, and I was just blown away because here I am thinking that, oh, so people are not just closet writers, they're actually sharing their work in a public space. So if they can do it, then maybe I can too. I spent a whole year not doing anything because I was just too shy like that. I am shy. And so I just thought, nah, no way, I'm not going to do that. By the time I was, my second year, I just jumped on one Thursday, just started reading my work. And from then on, it was just, if I felt the courage to and I had the time, I would, because I was studying BCom accounting, hence, the tax consultancy world. But yeah, whenever something would happen and I'd find out about it, I think I fell in love so much with poetry then because it was my solace. The academics were not easy at all. Accounting science
I can
was
relate.
not easy. I mean, the whole plan was to become a CASA. But anyway, in spite of all of that, the academia was just not doing it for me, and I was just being swallowed up in all this darkness. I could find refuge and all this peace in words. And by third year, we would have Christian. Well, we were in res, and so there were various Christian platforms, and they were like, if anybody wants to come perform, come through, and I would. And so one stage went up, opened me to another stage and another stage. And then eventually people just get to know about you. So from Pretoria, I then took my work to Johannesburg, mounted various platforms there. And yeah, that is just how that all started. How has the journey been? Yo, it's been a roller coaster ride. My goodness. There is, where do I start with this one? There's so much about throwing yourself into your passion wholeheartedly. The heartache and heartbreak that you will experience because you did not expect certain things and nobody kind of like prepared you for certain things, like, hey, you want to make money out of this? Listen, here's the reality of things. Nobody tells you that, because we're we're running on passion, right? And you don't expect a lot of the heartbreak that you're going to find, the payment by exposure that you're going to come across, various other non so pleasant things because of your gender. But all in all, it has been a faith walk.
Wow.
A lot of times I've wanted to give up. A lot of times I've wanted to be like, okay, poetry, it's been good, I'm out. But to have seen God move in the way that He has moved and opened the doors that He has opened for me has just been amazing. I'm like, I can't leave. Your calling always has a way of calling you back, even when you went out. So it has been very much a faith walk for me.
Preach, sis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Sorry I cut you, but I wasn't trying to cut you. It's just that you were
No,
dropping
I'm
by.
done. I'm done.
Okay, awesome. You said some amazing things. I think what stood out to me initially when you were speaking about how it started for you was how, in school we would read poetry, did the same thing, and just read generally art, English, and creative, other people's creative writing from other continents. And you spoke about just not being able to relate to, stuff about from the Northern Hemisphere, and it really makes me curious, rather not curious, but it makes me think, like the influences that we have are interesting, because somehow we then end up finding ourselves in these same places, even though you mentioned that you couldn't relate in the beginning. So I found that very interesting. But also then you spoke about going into university, then getting out of the closet and taking your poetry out there, and then starting to travel from Pretoria to Joburg, which brings me into my next question. You went from reading and not relating to foreign, if I can say foreign poetry, to being an international poet yourself. Tell us about that. When was your first international trip? What has it been like being an international poet, taking your poetry across the borders of South Africa? And just, yeah, being on a local stage versus being on an international stage. What is the difference? Is there a difference? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So my first time out of South Africa was in 2012, and I went to Zimbabwe. And my first flight ever. Oh my gosh, it's been 10 years to date, right? Oh, this is actually quite nice. 10 years to date. And I remember just being very thankful on the flight to know that poetry can actually get me to fly. Me who had just always seen airplanes just fly above my head, but like here I am now, actually in one. And I think what was just mind blowing for me is just realizing what the media shows you and what you actually get to see. The media does not get to show you the whole landscape and the various views of the people. Media has an agenda to push, and they will push whatever it is that they want you to know, which might not necessarily be the narrative, right? Which is quite sad. And I met the warmest people ever in Zim. It was it was called Shoko Festival. Yes, and there were international acts, people from all over. It was also interesting to see South African artists in there. I'm like, I don't know you, but here we are in a different land. That was pretty cool. For me, it was just the ability to also learn from other people and not just take again what the media is telling me, and learn for myself how much art has influenced people outside of my own country, outside of my space. Traveling really broadens your mind. And then along the way, there was Lesotho. And 2018, I think, was the first time that it actually sunk in. I was at Poetry Africa and I was doing an interview, and I remember Sipindile from Poetry Africa was saying that, the caliber of artists that we have here are of an international quality. Prior to that, I don't know, maybe I just had low self-esteem issues. I did not truly believe that, actually am an international artist. It didn't really sink in for me. So now when they say introduce yourself, actually I should have said that at the beginning. I'm an international performance poet, but it's just not really it's not one of those things that I just throw around, because it's like, I don't know, it really hasn't sunk in that, hey, I've traveled. And the first time too outside of Africa was to Belgium in 2019, Belgium and
Wow.
Sweden. And I mean, that was just crazy for me, because I'm like, I'm doing two Europe trips in 1 year. That is like, wow, and it's places which, in all honesty, I thought that it would take some time before I actually got to them. So to have done 2 countries in 1 year was just absolutely amazing. And for the duration that I did them, was just absolutely amazing. So what traveling has really done is just really broadened my mind.
That's good.
As you were, as you rightfully said, from not being able to relate in high school, once you then leave your country and you're now more well traveled, there are influences to that. And I like what somebody said is that when you leave your home or your country, you do not come back the same. And it's totally true. Your mind is just absolutely broadened because you are not just only into, I live a lot in my head, but to now be able to hear other people and how they live and how that impacts their work and how the art impacts them has just been, wow, quite a blessing, quite mind-opening.
Wow. 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 Absolutely amazing, man. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool because my first international trip for poetry was also Zim. So I was like, hey, shout out to Zimbabweans.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that is so amazing. It's just so beautiful to be able to hear your journey and just like you said, you spoke about how it's not like the first thing that comes to your mind and it takes sometimes a while to sink in. And you also spoke about artists, well, not artists, but you said you live in your head. For me, I was like, artists generally, we live in our heads. I
Yeah.
think it's generally many, many artists can relate. I want to go through some of the comments and just find out what people are saying. Uh, and she's coming this way. Can't wait. Ketangosi, you and me both. I also cannot wait. International performance, a poet. Yeah, yeah. Listen. Y'all gonna hear her soon doing a piece. She's amazing. Stand up for Lesotho. Yes, that is my mother who lived in Lesotho at some point. We love Lesotho. Yeah, I think people are just basically echoing what you have said so far, which has already been amazing. So, for our viewers, I'm going to be, as I said, giving away a free ticket to Power, which is happening on the 29th of October. And Emma's going to be there. How exciting is that? Earlier, she spoke about how her journey has mostly been a faith walk. And like, I think I posted this on my Facebook. I was like, bringing Emma here was also a faith thing, but it's happening. And that's on God, man. Like, that's on God. Really, really excited to be having Emma here for poetry, for power, and for poetry, and for all the other amazing things that we're going to get to do while she's here. Um, Thank you, Emma, first of all, for sharing all of that about your journey. It's been really beautiful just to hear where you've been with your poetry, what it's been like for you, your journey. Quick question. Has there been any particular moment so far that has been a highlight for you in your journey so far?
Sure, there are so many.
Yeah?
Sure, there are so many. I'll mention probably three. The
Mm-hmm.
first one is just audience feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when somebody can be able to say that I felt dead and
Mm-hmm.
your work has allowed me to go back to my own talent and restart. I remember that this was an artist and a writer, and he was just like, I needed something to just resurrect me, to bring me back. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, he actually drew a picture of me one time, and he said, I dedicate this to you because it was listening to you at a certain slam. Imagine,
Oh,
that
wow.
I felt something get ignited again. So that was awesome.
Wow. Wow.
Second one was, believe it or not, at a private party, right?
Hmm.
And I remember actually the lead up to that party, the man who invited me said, actually, I'm quite nervous to invite you because you young poets are too political, and
Hmm.
I don't want political poetry at a party. But
Hmm.
it ended up being really wonderful. And a lady came up to me at the end of the festivities, crying, and she was like, "You were the voice of God I needed to hear today."
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
what?
Wow.
Like, wow. Shoo, that was shoo. Wow. No, that I took that with me.
Hmm.
And also, oh yes, I was in Sweden. And there's there's a certain piece that I am very nervous to do when I'm around white people. Very nervous, right? Because it's just one of those pieces. But here's this white girl in Sweden coming up to me and saying, "Thank you for that piece. It made me realize my privilege." I was
Wow.
like, wow, I have never
Wow.
heard a white person in my own country say this ever. In all my 20 plus, 30 plus years of existence, or whatever, the 10 years of doing this poetry thing, nobody has, especially as a white person, been able to say that that piece spoke to me, made me realize this reality and how I could actually change going forward.
Hmm.
I will never forget that one. That was just amazing. But
Wow.
yeah, I think the top
Sure.
three.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What does one say to that, man? I think what is so amazing for me is just how God will use us, on different platforms to touch different lives. And you spoke about, somebody basically saying to you that, like, you were the voice of God that they needed. And just like the power that words have or stage presence has, I'm just like, how, how did I come on here and change somebody's life with just saying, quote unquote, a few words? I
Yeah.
think that is amazing, honestly. So, so, so
Mm.
amazing. I want to know if there's a tangible, if I can put it that way, answer to this question is like, how did you actually break, into the international poetry space? And like, what things do you think that so far there's enough being done for poets to go onto the international space? Do you think that more things need to be done in the poetry industry to allow for more poets to be able to travel and just take their poetry international?
Funding. Can our governments and private entities and people sow more into the arts so that we could get people traveling? A lot of times, too, it's not just about waiting to be invited. It's also about us artists when we see open calls, because there are quite a lot of open calls online. But it also depends, are you looking in the right places, right? The open calls for writing to submit your work. I remember was it just before COVID? I was just, a friend of mine was sending me all these links for residencies, right? And if you want to be a part of a festival, write to the organizer. Sometimes they might not reply to you, but keep on writing. Send that MOA. Well, send that that letter of interest to say, hey, not everybody will know an Emma, so. This is Emma from South Africa. I would like to come through to your festival. This is my catalog of work as well. So make yourself known to them, right into these spaces. What's also important is also collaboration. I've seen that, oh my gosh, how did I forget Mozambique? I was in Mozambique last year. I think the beauty of being at Mozambique and just generally just traveling internationally is that at these international festivals, you also get to meet other poets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in Mozambique, with people from Portugal, Italy, Spain. I mean, when you think of just like how many continents are in like on one platform, and through that collaboration and interacting, well, through interacting with other people, they also get to invite you to their countries, blah blah blah, and so on. So if we could get more funding to hopefully get more artists to also be out there, that would just really be awesome, I think.
So good. So, so good. Oh my goodness. Your answer was like top of the charts. I don't know. It was amazing because you really brought in a bunch of good things. Like, one, obviously funding. We definitely need more of that. I pray for
Mm,
my dear country. We need a lot more of that. um,
mm,
it's just not enough. People are not funding arts but want the arts. So yeah, that's frustrating. But I love the element that you bring in, that like you as an artist have a part to play. Submit your poetry to people that are looking for poets. Take part in competitions or take part in things that are happening, and don't just expect these things to land on your table. Really, really
mm,
loved that. And I shared also, I think, a couple of in the previous Poets and Convo of the one before, I shared how my journey was that way. Like, for me to get the Zim thing, I had applied for a poetry competition thing, which I didn't know would lead to that, but it did end up leading to that. So
yeah.
definitely for all the artists, poets watching or who will watch later on, like, that is so important, not just expecting that, like, hey, they're going to call you because you're an amazing poet. But if you have the chance, opportunities to
Yeah.
apply or respond to calls, like you said. Amazing,
Mm.
amazing answer. I'm going to go through some comments, and then we are going to be hearing your piece after that. David Galilani says, Emma can't wait for you to land in Malawi. We need to introduce you to the warm heart, your new second home. Hey, love it. Real talk funding again from David Galilani. So true. So true. Kitangosi quoting you, you were the voice I needed to hear. The voice of God I needed to hear. Amazing. Lupakisho says, um are you looking in the right places? Exactly. Exactly. Are you looking in the right places? And finally, someone says collaborations. So important. Collaborating is so important. I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there. Like, just after putting out the poster with you, Emma, like, I've had like a couple of people sending me friend requests, and like the mutual friend is Emma. I'm like, oh hey, collaborations are so important.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
all right, so we have heard about your journey. We've heard highlights. We've heard just amazing things. You are just simply amazing, man. Really, really enjoying just hearing your journey. But we want to hear some of your poetry too. So please, whenever you're ready, please do the things that you do best.
So this is a piece, funny enough, that I got to fall in love with over time. And I'd never thought about until I was commissioned to write about skin. And prior
Wow.
to that, and this was for like a huge beauty brand in Southern Africa. I was just like, oh my God, well, how have I never written about loving my skin? And
Hmm.
so this is Skin of All Ages. The
Wow.
skin is like the name you never chose, but you own. It is home, the home you inhabit, born into, grow in, rest in. I have stretched with every season of your life, sprung and blossomed in spring's youth, danced with the heat in summer, and will riddle the wrinkles of your winter. I am the wall that holds everything within, from your inner organs to secrets left by forbidden kisses. Battles have tattooed the skin with scars, reminders of death's grasp you have escaped countless times. Not even bleach can unteach the rich legacy engraved in the skin. God Himself is clothed in it, so customize your flawlessness. To me, in me, you are everything. You are the black that birthed all things, the white that breathes light, the yellow that houses the sunshine, and if in between, the gray that will find itself by living in its skin. And every now and again, like an infant unclenching fist for the first time, unclench your clutter. In an air of melancholy, the ground has observed you tiptoeing with trepidation and tangling with doubt for far too long. It has asked for your return to be grounded, learn and relearn, unlearn to learn, to circle the boxes, color out of the edges, learn to carve yourself into history. You have proven 9 lives is no measure of the 365 days of you seeking, slipping in, slipping off, tearing up tears and building solace. And with every peel, be weightless. Reveal a new layer of you at last, something new under the sun. Darling, exhaling is evidence that you can let go. Go. Heal with every peel. Toss, turn, twist, till the spirit, still your soul. Crawl, cocoon, metamorphose with every peel. Exhaling is evidence that you can let go. Then rest, darling, rest. You are best dressed in your own skin. Glow in it. And that is Skin of All Ages.
Sheesh, sheesh. Oh my goodness. Wow. 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 I don't know what to say, but wow, that was amazing. Oh my goodness.
Thank you so
Ah,
much.
amazing. Absolutely amazing. I am trying to recover. I'm trying to, yeah, how can I recover? How do I come back from that? Wow. People in the comments are saying you are best dressed in your own skin. That is a line from your piece.
Yeah.
Hey, hey,
Thank you for
hey,
listening, guys.
hey. Wow. Emma, that was a lot. You finished me. I'm trying to recover here, but I'm struggling. Okay, girl, fire. Finger snap, finger snap, finger snap. Listen, I be finger snapping all the way with you. Okay, so before we get into our Q&A from the audience, I have one more question for you, Emma, and then I'm going to announce the power giveaway, and then we're going to go into Q&A from the audience. So to all of you watching, please start getting your questions ready. Yeah, let us know let Emma know what you want to know from her. But I think my final question, hopefully my final question, I don't know, it may or may not be. What advice would you give to somebody who has just recently gotten their first international gig?
Be open to learning.
Hmm.
A lot of the times, even just on any stage, a lot of the times previously for like what the past for a good 8 years, it was all about how much I would give, right? But of late, I've also just learned how much I can also take in and receive. There's so much that, as you said, influences our writing. What you learn there can impact to so much of how you can broaden yourself, broaden your writing. It's not just about you as a person, and there's also you and your work. And network. I'm not a great networker, but international things with TGA, listen, you got a network, open yourself up to different
Okay.
experiences, right? Open yourself to different experiences. And audiences. Sometimes in South Africa, it's quite cool that I forever am grateful that I started in Pretoria before going
Hmm.
to Johannesburg, right? Because your audiences are not always the same. Even in
Hmm.
different provinces, they're not always the same. So if you find that you are used to an audience that will hype you up as you go, scream and shout and lose their minds, and then you go to a Europe where it's like an orchestra, they will sit quiet the whole time. Like they're quiet and they will only clap at the end. If you are the
Wow.
kind of person who, a lot of people love to say that I feed from the audience, it will mess you
Hmm.
up. It will
Hmm.
absolutely mess you up. So I
Wow.
think what that really taught me is that I am the artist, I
Hmm.
am the conductor. It is my words that are going to direct the atmosphere. You create the atmosphere with your words. There's no
Hmm.
time here to be feeding from your audience. You are directing the audience through your words. You are giving them the direction in which you want to take them. And it's not just you, the artist, it is the power. This is why I'm saying that there's the spirit in the arts. There's
Hmm.
so much power in your words. And
Hmm.
it is your words. How weighty are your words? What are you saying? I mean, we don't just get excited getting up on stage, because we
Hmm.
know what it is that we're going to deliver. I trust my work, that I'm going to
Hmm.
take the audience on a certain path. And so
Wow.
sometimes, sure, it doesn't always go the way that you want it to. It, it happens. Okay.
Hmm.
But just know that if you're going to be wanting to feed off the audience, you're going to have to just adjust yourself real quick because audiences are not the same.
Hmm. So good. So good. Listen, I don't know about you, but like after this, I'm finding time in my week to rewatch this because you are dropping bars. So
Oh,
many
thank
good things that
you.
are coming out that I'm really, really loving. Be open to learn. Understand that your audience won't be the same. Don't expect to feed off of the audience because your audiences will not be the same. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Let us go into some comments. David Galilani is asking, whew, guys, I'm seeing a very long question here. Okay, let's start at the beginning. David Galilani is asking, I'm trying to see this comment. Emma, do you have any peers in your sphere of the arts that challenge you now? Good question. Really good
Do I
question.
have any?
Do you have any peers in your sphere of the arts that challenge you now?
Oh yeah, definitely. They've always been. There is this one friend. There's one friend who will be like, "Yay, awesome! I really see that you're doing well, but you know that there's more that you can do, right?" I'm not happy, and
Wow.
you'll just be like, I think because when you really have that person who kind of knows how much more can
Hmm.
come out of you, when he's just like always challenging me. And he's like, I thank God that he knows as a writer how difficult it can be. He knows the
Hmm.
space, in which we're in, how difficult it can be, but still pushes me to just do more as a writer. Yeah, so yeah,
Hmm.
definitely that one friend I definitely do have.
Wow, absolutely amazing. We all need those friends who will challenge us and push us, or family. If you have family that supports your art, for me, it is those ones. My mother will sit me down and tell me that was cute, honey, but I felt like you were a bit off today. She'll say, but you need that
Yeah.
because, as you said, like they know that you can do a lot more, and so they push you to become your best
Yeah.
self. So love that. Let's see some other questions. Let's take a question not from David Galilani. I will come back. Let's take another one. Um, let's try this. Okay, before we get into the very long question, what has your greatest challenge been as a female Black poet? Woo, potent. I want to hear this.
Um, hmm, Black and female. Okay. Black. It's entering into certain spaces, in all honesty, because the color of your skin does sometimes not allow you to enter certain spaces. And coming back to that whole thing, that sometimes they want a non-problematic Black person, right? You must
Hmm,
be, palatable enough for everyone. They don't want to hear the reality sometimes of what you live through, and which, informs the work that you're writing. So that has been a problem. Female, I think it was especially in the early days where people would, when you're talking to someone thinking that you're gonna be getting a gig, right? And they're
hmm,
promising you gigs, but only to find that this person is like, okay, so I will actually never forget this one where the guy said, so how about we Netflix and chill and then we'll discuss this gig? And you just sitting there, you're like, but excuse me? Can you, if I was a male poet, would you be saying the stuff to me? You know?
absolutely not. Wow.
So it was not being taken seriously for my work. And that is for me first and foremost what I want people to know, the work. So
Mhm.
if you're not seeing what you can get out of me because I'm a girl, no, no. So it has been very, very unpleasant in that regard.
Sure. Wow. Wow. I'm not even gonna get into that because deep. Just deep. Just deep. Okay, okay, I'm still going to read the comment. I thought it was a question. It's a very long one, so I'll take the time to read it. It says, funding is very essential, yes. However, most funders tend to have a keen eye on commercial or financial return on investment. So basically, in Africa, it'd be great if governments either put in place or support initiative policy development structured to, let me see, structured, yo, I can't see. Struggling to see. um, I've lost. Okay, structured to commercialize and protect artistry to the max. Also,
Yeah,
schools would do great to promote arts as a commercially rewarding career landscape so that we can build from the ground up a culture of love of the arts. Just thinking out loud.
that,
Fantastic, fantastic,
that
Lewis. So true, so true. Do you have anything to say to that before I move?
yeah. When you consider how I remember at some point, I mean, we had creative writing, there was art where people could take art as a subject in high school. And along the way, where you realize that sports is just no longer a priority in schools, arts is just also being taken out. And you're just like, but not every child is academically inclined like that. There's some
Hmm,
people who are artistically inclined. So if we're
hmm,
not nurturing them at grassroots level, then where do you
hmm,
expect these children to also be getting their outlet from? And I really feel that, especially as Africans, and I'm just seeing just like how America is doing it. They're selling their culture to us, and we're
hmm,
consuming it like mad, right?
hmm,
But this
hmm,
also is not just us at this level now. We started much earlier, and we could count how many people were easily influenced by American poets in their
sure.
writing, or how many knew about American poets before they knew about African poets, right?
Hmm,
Countries are selling their cultures a lot.
hmm,
And then
hmm,
here in Africa, it's just like, but guys, come on, you know,
hmm.
we really, like, honestly, I feel like, and the world is just absolutely hungry for Africa. They love what we do.
So true.
If
So
you
true.
just see how many African artists have won Grammys and all of that, they
Hmm,
have a great appreciation for the work that we do. And if we only invested, I really loved that comment. If we only invested in well, if governments could invest in ourselves as much as we do
come
too,
on.
we could just easily take over the world.
Hmm. So good. So good. I feel like I must cut that and like we must share it across the internet spaces. Just that portion because so important and so true. Like for us to realize our own value, like you said, like the international market is looking for you. They love what you do. And
Yeah.
why are we not investing in ourselves? Such a potent comment. And I love your response to it as well. David Galilan is asking Emma, what are your religious beliefs? Are you a Christian?
Yes, I listen. I was, I think I was cold from the womb. So with that, yes, I am a Christian. Even if I was not born into a Christian family, I would have just still been like, oh God.
Mm.
I'm at a point where I'm beyond turning back. I've seen too much. I've seen too much to be like, I listen. Well, without God, this journey for me would not be worth it.
So good. So good. Love it. And I'm so with you on that one. Isaac Julie says, Emma, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
This is like those job interview questions. I hate.
Right? What are you supposed to say?
Oh, where do you see yourself in this company in 5 years' time? While like being your boss, I don't know. um, 5 years' time. I honestly don't know. Given a 5 year timeline, I do know what I want to do, and the reason why I say this is because I've been hurt. I'm speaking from a wounded place where I had a whole timeline plan that by this time I should have achieved this, at that time I
Mm,
should have achieved that, and then it didn't materialize. So now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna keep on working. And then by the time that this happens, it happens. But what I just really want to be able to do is to be traveling more, being on a whole lot of media spaces, be it radio, TV, whatever, because I feel like our work should not just be in writing alone.
mm,
It needs to be heard, it needs to be seen. I'm hoping to do more collaborations outside because I'm such a purist. And just of late, I've been dabbling with like doing stuff with the videographers. I'd love to do more theater work. I'd love to be doing more ad space. I'd love to be writing stories that incorporate. I mean, there's a beautiful one which is called "We Are Dying Here," and it's being taken around the
mm,
world. Is that if we could have more stuff like that? I'd love to be a part of more stuff like that. And just to get the work into spaces also where traditionally it would be uncommon to have poetry enter. That for
mm,
me is my ideal mark, is not so much as to infiltrate generally well-known popular spaces, but the uncommon spaces where you would not think poetry would delve into. I want to be found there. That is what I want to
mm.
do. How long that is
Wow.
going to take, I really don't know. Genuinely don't know.
Beautiful, though. I love that. I love what you say, taking poetry into places where it's not normally found or expected. Beautiful. So beautiful. Love that answer. As you were answering your question, it reminded me of one of the questions that I wanted to ask. So I'm going to ask, sorry, I know it's the Q&A time, but I want to ask. I want to know, you spoke about, now my mind is gone. Give me a minute. Yes, you spoke about like wanting to do more poetry, be in more spaces, and that kind of a thing. And it makes me wonder, like, is poetry something that you believe you can live off of? Like, is it sustainable for you at the moment, or would you want to work it to a place where it is if it's not right now? Yeah, talk to me a little bit about that. Like, living off of your art, is that something that is sustainable?
Being in the country in which I am in, being on the continent in which I'm on, no. I cannot do poetry alone. I've even had interviews with people who are like the biggest names in the land, and they were like, no, you need to diversify. It
Mm,
is quite unfortunate, but unfortunate in the sense that if you can't just live off poetry and just expect you to feed off that. Quite on the other side, it also allows you to dabble into other things too, so that you're not just restricted to one thing. You can stretch your work and see how far it can go. So the economy of things just does not allow
mm,
just does not allow me to live off poetry alone. And I mean, with COVID was a great example. I remember sitting there thinking to myself, if all I did was poetry and or just the arts only, I would have been in trouble because firstly there were no live performances that were happening, right? So stages were closed, theater doors were closed, and all of that. So nobody could be performing anywhere. Sure, there were online things, but that took a while to pick up, you know. And some people were just like a week away from starvation, a month away from being dead broke. And
Mm,
even if there was some government funding, question mark, like who's being funded? You know, why are certain people being funded? And that was not also very transparent. And it just raised a whole lot of questions. You really could see that as artists, we are on our own, you know?
mm,
So until, I don't know, I don't know what needs to happen for a person to
mm,
be able to say that, yes, I can, for me to be able to say that, yes, I can love of poetry alone. But right now, no, I can't.
mm. I hear you. I really hear you. It's tough. Yeah, really tough being an artist. And I think, just like you said, I love the fact that you said in your country, but also in the part of the world that we live in, because sometimes you think it's just, well, it's just my country, the specific African country that I'm in. But the reality is, it's probably the reality for many others within the continent and possibly even in other parts of the world as well. It's a reality for
Yeah.
them as well. So, very
Mm.
unfortunate. Okay, good people. I'm about to announce how you can win a power ticket. Do I have some people wanting to win a power ticket? Please give me a hands up in the comment section. At the same time, I'm going to be looking to see if there are any more questions that I can take. If not, we will be rounding up the conversation pretty soon. But here is a drum roll for those of you who want to win a ticket. I want you to let me know in the comment section down below. And whoever answers correctly first will win the ticket. And you can obviously get in touch with me through my Facebook, inbox me, DM me on Insta to get your ticket. But I want to know who, in the order that we have announced them, who are the three supporting artists that we have announced so far for our power event. Please let me know in the comment section down below. It's an easy question if you've been following the pages. I'd love to know. Let me know. Even if you already have a ticket, you can always win a free ticket and pass it on to somebody else who wants to be a part of this event. So, yeah, let us know who are the three that we have announced so far in the order that we have announced them in. While I'm waiting for you to answer that, I will be going through some of the comments. Godfrey Matthews says, "Wow, this is powerful. It really has been an absolutely powerful, power-packed conversation." Sure, Netflix and chill. Keep stepping. Absolutely. Honestly, keep stepping, whoever you are. um, he said, I've seen countries are selling their culture. He talked about that. So true. I've seen so much, so true again. Like, child, when you were saying that, I was like, listen, that is how I feel. Even like when you're mad at God, when you're disappointed, when things are not working, you're like, I've come too far to go back. So we're just going to stay here. What else can a person do?
Yeah.
I've seen too much. Let's see. I think I have gone through all the comments. Okay, so somebody is trying for the answer. Isaac, I believe Emma Mabye, Prezu Malipo Kajala, need something. Need me a ticket. Okay. Good. You might actually win it because you're the only one who's answered. That is not the correct order, but you got all three correct. Very close to getting the answer correct. Um, yeah, as we are rounding up and as I'm seeing if anybody else is going to answer the question before announcing the winner, Emma, do you have any final words, any last tips, advice, any last words that you want to give to our viewers tonight?
Firstly, thank you to everybody for actually, tuning in. Thank you for the questions. I loved the comments. Absolutely loved it. I'm gonna come back to this. Take down those comments because
Right.
those really need to be looked into, and beyond the space because we really have to grow the arts. And thank you as well. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are sure. How do I put this? You are part of my story. You are part of my journey. So when I do say in future that, where have you been to, I can say that it is because of you that I've been virtually in Malawi. Thank you so
And
much for
soon
that.
to be, for real, for real.
And just to be for real, right? God will make it. Thank you, Jesus. It shall happen. It shall manifest. And because this is really my dream. To be collaborating with people, because this poetry is much bigger than me, much, much, much bigger than me. And to everybody else, some people really want to know is that how do I get onto these platforms? Do the work. The work is what will take you to these spaces. I remember when I had my poetry anthology and it was going to places like Canada, Kenya, places like that. And I'm like, I've never been to those countries. I've never set foot there, but the work is taking me there. So carry on putting in the work, though. It is the work that will get you there. And always remember why it is that you're doing this poetry or whatever it is that is your passion. It is not for the fame, because I think in me already telling that, I have to supplement um, the art, financially. It is not about the fame and the money, have a reason why you're doing what you're doing, and let it be solid, because then it will carry you through the times where you actually just don't feel like doing it, you know?
So, so good.
Have your why, remember your why, push your why, and it will definitely get you there.
Ah, so good, man. So, so, so good. You were like born for the TV. You were born for the camera. Honestly, so, so amazing to have had you tonight. You've been an amazing guest. Really enjoyed our conversation. And as I said, I'm so looking forward to sitting down and actually watching this, because obviously when you're doing this, you're not really, yeah, you've got to be in two places at the same time. So, really looking
Mm.
forward to watching this, sitting down, watching it. And absolutely cannot wait, honestly, counting down to you coming to Malawi. We can't wait. And the winners for the ticket, number one goes to Kiliko Ngosi. You win a free ticket because you got it right. You got the order correct. Praise Umali, MABYE, and Paul Katala. So you're definitely getting a free ticket. And then I will also give a free ticket to the other person who didn't get the order correct, but you posted your comment first. So that is to you, Isaac. Please get in touch with me. Kiliko, you don't need to do that because I know you. But yeah, Eva, Mabye, Praise Umali, you said, and Pokachala. So great try. And then somebody else tried Q, Praise. Q, yeah, not on the list, but we did do a Poets and Convo. So that's probably what you're thinking. I did a Poets and Convo with him. All right, you know that I can keep talking and talking until. So I'm gonna let you go, Emma. Thank you so much for being here. You've been amazing. As I said, can't wait to have you here. The audience has loved you. Thank you again to everybody who watched tonight. You guys were an amazing, amazing audience. Really, really loved all your questions and comments. Kitongosi says, "We love you, Emma. We surely do." And on that note, we are saying goodbye. Thank you for
Bye,
watching, Emma. Thank you for
everybody.
lots of love, and see you soon.
Thank you so much.